And I had to start paying attention. And a part of me was like, why do they keep trying to tell me this? And then later, man, it took me later in life to realize this, man. Someone else's wisdom that they give you is their tuition that they paid.
What's up, peoples? Please enjoy this bonus episode where we dive into the topic of finance and education and how we seek to help elevate each other and those in our communities out of this place of financial illiteracy and those chains that bind us. We thank all of you for listening at home as we try to help give guidance and clarity on our individual experiences surrounding money. As every week, we'd also love to thank our Patreon subscribers for their patronage of the show. Thank you to our newest subscriber, Joe Kemler. And if you want to join on our conversation outside of this cast, feel free to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram at HaveADrinkCast, and make sure to use the hashtag HADcast. Feel free to join our Discord as well. The link will be in the description. Now, thank you again, and get prepared to sit, think, and have a drink. Welcome to the Have a Drink podcast. Peace. All right, gentlemen, listeners at home, I appreciate y'all. Thank you for coming to the Have a Drink podcast, where we invite you to sit, think, and have a drink while we dive into the hearts and minds of the generation. Tonight, we have a few topics on the docket. One of the things I kind of wanted to start us off on was something that we talked about before in one of our Tuesday meetings, was financial education and financial wealth and how we build that in our communities. I kind of wanted to have a larger discussion about it and something more crystal clear. I know Joe was expanding on a few of the things that he was talking about before, but like how we can build that in our community. We were talking about a few things like if the six of us threw into a pot, $100 each, $600 goes to someone each month, and it goes to a different person in our crew each month that, depending on if someone needed it more or not, and then we would all talk about it, and et cetera. So I just wanted to, I wanted to know, what do you guys think and feel? What do you think how should we generate that financial wealth in our community?
I totally agree with that, and I'm 100% on board with the communal pot, right? But that communal pot can also go on a grander scale. That's a smaller scale that is still very effective, but a larger scale is just keeping our money flowing within our community. So that means we got to buy local, support local, and help, because if we don't do that, all of our money is always being spent outside of our communities, and it doesn't last as long. So therefore, we're not supporting each other. That's why a lot of us are not thriving or surviving, especially during this time, during this pandemic. It's going to be a lot of the smaller stores or mom and pop shops that are not going to survive, that are not surviving. Bigger names are closing. For instance, specialties. Today was their last day. So that's it. There is no more specialty stores. And that's the cafe, I mean. And I know quite a few of my colleagues that had martial arts and stuff like that. They are shaking in their boots, shaking in their uniforms right now, not sure if they're going to survive. And it's a very, very rough thing right now. So that's why I seen something called Unity San Jose. And there's a collective of different businesses in the San Jose area that are putting together things, and like they submitted like designs, and they're selling shirts, they're selling merchandise. And then you just scroll through and figure out which store or shop you want your donation or your help to go to. So that's another way to keep that money being spent within the community still and helping each other out. So making a long story or a long-winded answer longer, I just feel like we need to spend more money within our communities to help that happen. So not so much about the big stuff. So we got to look more for that and keep the money local.
Yeah, that wow, I hadn't thought about that, like actually doing it that way. Eddie, it looked like you were gonna go before I cut you off and had Omega go next.
Oh yeah, no, I was just gonna say, I just think knowledge, as far as money goes, is like a number one key because I mean we've all seen it. Really don't matter how much money you have if you don't know how to spend it or invest it, or you just a dummy when it comes to a dollar bill, you can go broke. We've seen it happen to people like, well, I guess these people aren't broke, but they not they don't have as much money as they did once before, like Iverson, MC Hammer, people like that, not being smart with money. So, and then we've seen people who don't have a lot of money get by and thrive and have good lives because they know what to do with the little bit that they have. So, I do agree with Omega. Uh, Circulating the money in our own community is definitely a good thing. But if the people with the money don't know what to do with it, then it's not going to circulate in the right direction.
100%. Definitely agree. I'm sorry, so you go ahead, Chief.
No, I was gonna say I agree as well.
I agree.
I was kind of curious how, because like, yeah, some people on the flip side, some people are, getting more money than they did before each month. You know, what about the individuals that are, they are making more money than they did before and they're accumulating and that idea of like saving, is it wise to save or is it wise to invest? Excuse me. Yeah.
That's a good question. I would say if you don't know what you're doing, investing, I think it's better to save. For this simple fact, if we look at the coronavirus right now, and let's say I'm a novice and I just go below $10,000 in investments. I don't know how to invest at all. But let's just say I lose about half of it. If I would have held on to that and put that into possibly a credit union where I would be getting 3 to 4% back on it, it's better to save that way to get a return as opposed to just investing or just keeping it in a savings account where you're getting no money back or no percentage back on your money. So I think that's something that we really have to think about, not only just spending money in our community, but also not ensuring we don't live above our means and be paycheck to paycheck. I know persons of color usually get stigmatized as we're living paycheck to paycheck, but we can see with this corona pandemic, a lot of companies were basically living paycheck to paycheck as well. So it's just when you look at your money, how are you going to spend it? Also have a 12-month plan, a 6-month plan, and also an 18-month plan.
Very real information. I appreciate that. Because I mean I'm with a credit union, so I'm gonna rethink some things. But I also know how to invest here and there. It's a little different. I know the trends that are about to come. All the drops and different things. Like Apple, I heard right now is not about to do very well because of some decisions that they decided to make. The sheer fact that the news controls the stocks. That's why I noticed something. If you watch the news and you see all these like crazy things happening about all these different companies or all these different entities, so to speak, whether it's like a politician, et cetera, their stock or their what do we go, sponsorships, investors, they start to drop out because they're like, oh, they're gonna have a bad name. People are not gonna want to be associated with them anymore. And so they're gonna start pulling away. And I mean, it probably is something that most people probably know. I know. I just kind of found out that information today. Not today. Recently.
That actually happened not that long ago. If you guys follow the Joe Rogan's podcast, there was one in particular person that was on there, and it was Elon Musk. And the day he lit that joint on the Joe Rogan podcast, his stocks plummeted. He didn't care. I mean, that dude is loaded, right? But the fact that people are so image conscious about it, that happened. But I digress. Let's go back to the conversation at hand. Richard, let's hear your side.
Yeah, no problem. So I agree with all you guys' points. I mean, you guys are never wrong. The biggest thing ultimately, and maybe I'm just looking at it from a first thing first level. Okay, what's the first step, right? To me, the first step, and this is coming from somebody who's struggled a good chunk of my life and just had to figure out, find a way. I think the first step is just being open to hearing information. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be open, but also ready to receive it. So, for example, I feel like now I'm at a time in my life, the book I'm reading right now, Rich Dad Poor Dad. And it's not, giving you the game, it's just giving you information to change how you look about money. And where I'm at in my life is just, look, I want to be better, I want to do better. I want to prepare, because I don't think Social Security will be around, when we're 60, 70 years old. So I got to prepare myself now. And that's, okay, what I got to do, I'm ready now. Like I want to do it, but also I got more resources now where I can be attentive and I'm not just stretching myself out left and right. So ultimately, I think the thing is, and I'm sorry, I know you asked like, investing and this and that, this and that. Before that, the first things first, got to be open to receive the information, but also just willing to take that step once you receive the information, because you can get it. Well, one, as cliche as it is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink it. So you have to want that thirst for knowledge and thirst to want to be better, but also do better. Like you have to want to, what, I'm tired of living like this. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. And I get it. There are situations or circumstances not everybody can get out of. Let's be honest about it. Just being Black, we're already, put in situations, circumstances that we didn't ask to be in. You know what I'm saying? But, we can rise above that. We can do better. You know what I'm saying? So I think ultimately for me, just being open, that's the first step. Being open and ready to do the work.
Beautiful answer.
Hey Z, can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
When we're talking about investments and trends, I'm sure everyone's heard of it. If you haven't, the CEO of Twitter and Square, it's the same individual. He's basically giving the option to his employees that after this is all said and done, you can still work from home permanently. Like you ain't got to come into the office.
Oh, wow.
So I think the one thing that we're seeing in tech industries is if we're going to allow people to work from home permanently, that's going to drive demand down in housing and rent in these Silicon Valley, San Francisco, big metropolitan city areas. So with that being said, I'm curious to see what's going to happen to the housing market within the next 24 months in those types of areas. So be on the lookout for that because a lot of companies are starting to trend that way.
Yeah, I've heard of a few companies that have been going permanent, but they were like lower level companies. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. You guys can work from home, but a lot of places are seeing how you can work remotely. So that's interesting. I actually haven't thought about that. The housing prices going down as well because of it.
I know San Francisco's like super upset because I guess they gave them tax breaks. And now if you're going to reduce that, your carbon footprint in the city is smaller, which is less transportation, less being people eating out, lunch, dinner, happy hours. So it's just something to keep your eyes tuned to.
These are times where I just kind of sit back and watch and take notes because I think I'm so grown. But when it comes to when we be having conversations like this, I'm just like, oh.
I mean, it's not about that. I mean, even adults don't know it. Like up until I think about 2 years ago, I was financially illiterate. Sorry, excuse me. I was financially illiterate, and I didn't know the mistakes I was making, and I made big mistakes for my financial health when I started my first year of college. And that's where they get you. They like credit cards jump out at you. They give you all these bonuses, sign up bonuses and things like that. And you're you're not thinking about the future. You're like, hey, I'm in college, I'm newly on my own, I'm trying to go and build a life for myself. I don't know which way, I don't know like my ass from my hand right now. So like let's just kind of just go out there and go for it. And they're like, here, take some money, take this, take that. And like the consequences didn't hit me. And so up until 2 years ago, when I decided I don't want to go through this anymore, I don't want to, be financially illiterate. I want to know what I'm doing with my money. I want to know how to get myself out of debt. I want to know how to get like myself on my feet. And so that's why like I inquire about these types of topics with the different groups that like I'm a part of, or people that I know. I'm like, hey, how, what can you tell me to not mess up my money no more? Please and thank you. Yeah. So it's not about being young. It's just whether you have the education or not.
That's interesting though. And I think it's really good that we're talking about this very specific topic, because when I asked the same question out on my story and on my socials and everything, I had one of my friends, Justin, he hit me up and he was like, well, we don't get taught enough about these things. We don't get taught enough in our schools. We have to go figure it out for ourselves. Right now, I'm at the point in my life where I'm having to learn. I have you, obviously, and I have other people, and obviously we all have other people, but I just think it's interesting because, and he brought this to my attention. He was like, we don't learn this enough in school, even though we should. Think about that.
Really?
And always what he had asked is how did you guys learn? Like, and that's what I want to ask too. Like, how did you guys learn to handle those situations, handle these type of situations, like financially, those type of situations?
Beautiful question. I'm gonna let someone else go first.
For me, it was trial and error, big time. I moved out when I was 18, got an apartment, and everything was all good. And but I didn't respect the power of the deposit, I guess. So here's what happened. When I moved out, I didn't clean up the apartment the way I should have, and it came back to bite me in the ass later, because I thought, I don't live here anymore. I just, I'm leaving, going to do my own thing, and let them deal with it, not knowing that things follow you on your social security number, follows you through credit. So through that situation, I learned that value is not always in the dollar bill. It's sometimes it's in credit score. Majority of the time, it's in a credit score, or it's in property or other things. Like, money can get you there, but it's not like the most important aspect of value as far as money goes. If that makes any sense. Yeah. But yeah, trial and error for me, big time.
It makes perfect sense. If I can just chime in quickly, that makes perfect sense. But I hate that you had to learn through trial instead of getting that early education. So I read something earlier, like people mostly learn from pain. You know what I'm saying? And ain't no telling where it can stem from. I'm not gonna get into theories tonight, but like I hate that for us to learn something. Well, mainly me. Let me just talk about me. For me to learn something, I have to learn through pain. You know what I'm saying? And that was, for me, 32 years of my life. Now being at 33, I want to change. Like, I know what the first 32 was like. I was there. I lived it. I want to change that and see what the 33 is like. And that's just, why do you think I ask y'all so many questions? You know what I'm saying? So, just because I just want to know. You know what I'm saying? A lot of it comes from pain, but a lot of times literally just comes from just picking up a book or just also asking somebody a question. I learned a long time ago, the worst anybody can tell you is no, or just not respond to you at all. And so once you learn that, it's just like, hey, why do you so-and-so? People want to talk about themselves. People, 9 times out of 10, they don't mind if you just approach them correctly or nicely. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like it's just up to you to want to get that info, but also be open. But Eddie, you said something that I thought was major. It was small, but it was really major. And I just want to commend you on that. You was just like, you did something. You was like, I didn't clean up like the way I should have. Not like, toss and blame, like you took that. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you right now, I know a lot of adults, none of y'all are straight. I know a lot of adults that wouldn't even do that. You know what I'm saying? But I hear you learn from that situation, you're never going to learn it again, but you're also going to pass down that lesson to other folk to make sure that they don't go through the same thing that you went through.
Hey, Ed, thanks for sharing your story and responsibility and transparency. And like Richard said, most adults don't do that. Will, I can actually like say I was not in a similar situation like you, where I was getting wisdom from older cousins and uncles, but I'm not at this your exact age, but a little later, and I had to start paying attention. And a part of me was like, why do they keep trying to tell me this? And then later, man, it took me later in life to realize this, man. Someone else's wisdom that they give you is their tuition that they paid. And sometimes we just want to basically say that we want to learn it our own way. We want to do it our way. Well, if we do it our way, that's too expensive. So let me gain the wisdom that I got from you so I can help myself and not be in that same situation. So for my example, when I went to college, I had a cousin that signed up for a whole lot of credit cards. When I got to college, I avoided the credit card companies like the plague. And it was because someone else had come before me. So therefore, I'm saying this. Anything that you learn in this, man, trust me, whether it comes now or you'll be like, man, 2 years later, man, Omega Z, Rich, Ed said something, and now it hits me. Like literally, man, if I were you, man, I would have a journal, man, and just like start like taking notes after like some of our conversations, because some of this stuff really helps, man. Like honestly, I'm doing better because I was told don't do this. It's not because I'm smarter, man. Simply. So
I another thing that in this area I've learned is you have to be careful who you get your do's and don'ts from. You can't have someone like someone who's never had a car cannot tell you what to do to maintain your car, to keep up the maintenance, right? How you can tell me you never had a car? But someone whose car is always breaking down can tell you what not to do. He can give you the don'ts. So I would just be cautious of who you take your advice from. If, like, I know you rap, you make music. I ain't never made a song in my life, so I can't tell you how to make a song. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just be careful with who you get your do's and don'ts from. That's it.
Beautifully put, both of you. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the idea is just education. I mean, Cran, you you said it like write a journal. I mean, thankfully you'll have this portion recorded so you can come back to it anytime you need to. And for anybody else that needs to, hey, like that's another reason why we bring this topic up. Is because I know you'll have questions. I have questions.
Definitely, always.
It means somebody else is gonna have some questions too.
Yeah.
And I do this. I assume we all do this in hopes of helping people.
Absolutely,
like, even if they're just listening, and being like, "Wow, I never thought of it in that way." Like, wow, that helps me a lot. So.
No, yeah, I appreciate that. That all makes a lot of sense, and I most definitely keep in mind the journal idea, Cranberry. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Yeah. I don't necessarily plan on going to college. I never have. It's never been like this idea for me, and it's not because I'm gonna be the greatest rapper, musician, artist in the world. Woo woo woo. It's not about that. It's just I've never seen myself doing that, because in my opinion, if I want to get knowledge somewhere, then I can go and do it for myself. If I really want to know something, if my will is strong enough, I can get that information regardless of where I am or who I'm learning it from. I can do that for myself.
Yeah, for me, I know I said I learned it 2 years ago. I didn't say how. I I've reached out and I've searched around to a lot of places. I've gone through a lot of different things. One of the things that kind of put me into a pitfall was being part of different MLMs, multi-level marketing companies. They just kind of suck you in, especially at that time. I was fresh into college, so open mind. I'm like, oh, cool. There's a way I can make money on the side while I'm doing this. Residual income. That sounds amazing.
Mm.
I would love residual passive income. Like, who wouldn't?
Thought of that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're selling me gold. Wonderful. What do I have to? What am I giving people? Oh, you're giving them legal insurance. Huh? Okay. And then alarms and bells start going off, and then as I start going through it, and I notice that I'm losing some friends or some people through the connection of it, I'm like, ooh, okay, no, never mind. I've done legal insurance, I've done coffee, I've done diet craze things, I've done telecommunications. What else? What was the other thing? What was the last thing? Last thing was telecommunications that I was ever really a part of. But then there was a company, but there's like companies around stuff like that. Oh, insurance, like all types of insurance. Yeah. And so like being a part of those different things, they had some interesting knowledge when it came to money, but then I was also directed to being like, oh, come to this, spend your money here, do this, focus on this, buy this, share this, bring friends, sign them up, do all that. I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to do that. And that's what I learned. But I found a company called, I'm just going to call them the Alphabet. And they, and they give you these classes on financial education. They don't like pressure you to join anything like that. It's just kind of to spread the education. But the kind of stuff that you learn is you learn how to get yourself out of debt. You learn the different kinds of insurances that you personally might need, or someone you might need, programs for funding for school, if you have a kid, things like that. And the education portion of it was what I was really interested in. So I had to go out and find it myself. I didn't have people that were educated enough to tell me or give me advice. I'm pretty much the product of somebody else who didn't know. Like, it's your upbringing.
Yeah, no, these times like these is where I have to kind of like wake up a little bit and be like, all right, real life shit. How much of that do I actually know? Me being 16 years old and thinking that me personally, I think all the time, and I think that I'm at this higher level above most people my age, and I truly believe that. But at the same time, when it comes to real life shit, I'm like, how much of that did I actually pay attention to again? I'm like, oh, fuck, this is really going to impact me. This is something I need to understand.
They don't teach you that, though. That's not something that's taught in schools.
I wanted to get into that. On the topic of education, I wanted to also ask you guys what you think of electives. And the reason I'm asking that is because personal finance is an elective. It's not a main course, which is very interesting to me, because we got math, we got history, we got science, we got all this bullshit, but how much of it, to be honest, are we really going to use in the real world? Math, I can understand. English, very important, very important. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important to learn these things, but when it comes down to what is really out in front of your face in the real world, we don't know none of that. And I know for a fact that a few of my friends, they don't know shit. They don't even know how to use an ATM.
Wow.
We walk up in there trying to just get some money real quick, you go to the movies or some shit, they freak the fuck out at the stores, anywhere when it comes to paying for things, all that.
I've experienced that with adults too. I want to quickly answer, but like, I just want to quickly, comment. You have it in your school. I didn't have any of that.
That's what I wanted to ask. Like, I know for a fact that y'all didn't have that shit. Like
me. I mean,
we're getting the opportunity to have more. Matter of fact, we have like way more opportunities than you guys did when you was in school, and I fully recognize that.
Yes, exaggerated.
But but at the same time, we're not directed to go do those things. They put it on the little list of courses and shit you could take
amongst the
and
other
then most
things that
people
you
I
could be
know
like, oh, I can go out of school early for this. Sure, why not?
Exactly.
You know, I want to learn photography.
And they're gonna put down, they put all the like personal finance, driver's ed, all that shit right underneath the free period section, right underneath all that shit. And I'm just very curious because I'm like, this is shit that should be at the top of the list. Like, these are electives that we should be taking. Like, if we're gonna have like, I understand, but at the same time I don't, because it just seems like something, to me personally, those two very specific, health, driver's ed, and personal finance should be main courses in school, especially at all ages.
It's by design. I agree with you. It should be a required course. But the reason why it's an elective course is because everyone, if you live in a capitalist society, you'll soon come to find out everyone's not going to be on the same level playing field. And that's by design. So therefore, if I take a free period, that's my decision. But if I learn how to become financially illiterate in high school, that sets my life up better than someone that didn't. So therefore, I have a better chance of, this is jacked up to say this, in America, most people have this idea that in order for them to feel better about themselves, they have to be on top of someone. Or someone has to be working for them. So therefore, the reason why it's an elective is because they do not want everyone to know how to get to financial freedom. So I would say take that course, definitely, and tell all your friends that you care about. A free period, man, you can get free time any day you want. But to get that in high school and then start incorporating it in your finances will change the game for you, man. Seriously. But it's by design, though. Don't think they slick.
No, seriously, like exactly. That's, even as you said it, they put all of it right underneath the free period. Of course they did. They did. It's the result of a capitalist society. Ooh, that was beautiful.
That was really good. But and then I really like that. that really stuck with me. No, but they'll like take those things, put them at the bottom of the list. You feel me? And then they got like teachers that don't even want to teach in those classes, in those little main courses they got. They do not like teaching those classes to the children. They don't like doing what they're doing, and it bothers me. And my friend brought this up too when we were having this discussion. It was a very long discussion. It was a very interesting conversation. But he brought up the point that we at our school have a lot of teachers that don't even like what they're doing. They do not enjoy what they're teaching, and they are not very good at teaching it. My math teacher sucks. She is horrible. She sits up there forever trying to figure out just what she's trying to do, like just what she's going to teach us. And when she teaches it to us, it's not right. Like, there are people in the back that are like, that's not how that goes. This goes here, that goes there. And she'll be like, get out of my classroom. Like, I'm the teacher. It's like they just feel that power and they're just like, all right, I'm gonna roll with this, even though they don't really know anything about what they're teaching or are interested in that topic. And it's unfortunate because you're teaching the next generation. What are they gonna think? What are they gonna do? How are they gonna react to those topics? What is their knowledge actually gonna be based around?
I would like to hear an opinion from the teacher of the group. Oh.
Well, it's a lot more. See, there's an area that people tend to forget. You're looking at a person who has so much going on in their life, dealing with, let's take one class, 30 students in one class, 30 different personalities, 30 different maturing personalities, 30 different hormonally maturing personalities who don't either have respect for themselves or respect for anybody else. And you're trying to convey a message of something that majority of that room doesn't even really care or want to hear. You're trying to convey a message to them and help them. Now, let's go out of that room and just say admin put them in that class to teach that subject because they needed that subject filled. So now they have the stress of the admin breathing down their backs on top of the 30 kids that don't want to be there and don't want to listen. And then you're stressed out trying to figure out what are you going to do? Let's even draw farther back. Whatever happened in their life outside of work. A teacher's life is rough. A lot of people don't get that. Now, some people are starting to get it because now they're starting to see their kids and how they really are in the classroom. But I'm not taking it and putting it on the kids. I'm just saying there's so many different dynamics in a classroom that not a lot of people understand. So to go off of that, you're probably 100% right. That teacher probably does not like the subject or probably is burnt out trying to teach the subject and they're stressed out. Financial literacy should be taught in school. Should not be an elective. It should be part of your core curriculum when it comes to going through math. I personally feel like it should be incorporated within your math class throughout, from elementary all the way through to high school. But the problem is this: if we give you, not we as in me, as in teachers, but as in the government and everybody else, if they give you all of that financial literacy, why would you need them later? You know what I'm saying? Why would you need them? Why would you need grants? Why would you need scholarships? Why would you need the government why would you need a student loan? Because you are financially ready and you were set or you figured it out. The other thing too is a lot of the times it's pushed on your parents. Your parents are supposed to be the ones that teach you financial literacy, not your teacher. Your teacher is supposed to teach you how to count 1, 2, 3 and how to do the different parabolas. But it's your parents that are supposed to teach you how to invest your money, how to save your money, how to spend your money, how to make your money. That's supposed to be it. But the problem is this: there is no longer a cohesive unit from education and family. We're no longer a unit together. And that's where there's an issue and there's a breakdown. Because I've been saying this for many years that we need to do that in school. Because we take a lot of the electives out. Speaking of, when we were in school, we had home ec. So we would learn how to cook in school. There were others before me that had wood shop. We had ceramics. They had metal shop class. They had automotive class. Those were high school electives. A lot of them don't have that. They've cutting a lot because the education that's the funding that gets cut a lot of times in the government. So everything comes down to money. Nobody wants to pay the teachers. Therefore, the teachers are struggling to survive. So they're taking on so much. So now they're stressed out mentally, emotionally. And a lot of times they end up taking that out on the students. So everybody's stressed out.
Yeah.
That was well put. And I was thinking about this as you were talking too, because like it's a product of the area that you're in. You know, depending on where you're at will be what your main focus is going to be on, what electives are going to be available to you. You know, like if you're growing up in the Bay Area, your electives are going to probably follow around like tech and a lot of things like that. If you grow up in the Valley, like I was in Fresno, so a lot of the electives were you know, like drama here and there, so another language, but then like agricultural stuff. Like it was heavy on that. You know, LA, I'm not quite sure. I didn't go to high school out there, but you know, like I said, place dependent. You know, they'll give you the advancements that are available in the surrounding area. You know, you can't drive to the Bay Area to get a teacher to come down and teach tech in Fresno. Nobody's gonna want to drive 3 hours just for that. I don't even want to go to Fresno, and I lived there for forever.
Horrible.
You know, but I want to say sorry for the disrespect, because Richard, also you are an educator as well.
Yeah, all good. So it does bother me because Omega hit it on the nail, so I can't really just like add too much anything. But it goes on to what I was saying. It's just like a willingness. Like, for example, my man Will was just saying, you know, these are the options he wants to do. And Cran came in and was just like, yo, if I were you, I would take it, period. He's not lying. You know what I'm saying? Because what you're doing, that, you know, hour class that you're going to take, I don't know if it's for a semester for a year, could probably change your life, but also open up your mind to so much more that you didn't know, but also put you ahead of the game. So yeah, you don't want to go to college now, that's fine and dandy. Who knows, that can change. But you might learn something in that class that could save you at minimum, you know, $100,000 in your lifetime just by one thing that you learned in class. But also just understanding your mind, how money works. So for example, this is one podcast I listen to called Death, Sex, and Money. Highly recommend it if anybody doesn't listen to it. We all go through that. You know what I'm saying? Why do you think we're here? Somebody had sex, all right? We all got to die sometime, and we all need finances. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to have that knowledge. So getting that knowledge early on, it's only going to help you, Chief. Like, I wish someone came to me with that knowledge. And to be honest, they probably did. I just wasn't ready to receive it. And so now at 33 years old, I'm just like, I get it. I understand. I'm seeing things in a different light. And now I'm trying to fill my brain with as much stuff as I can that wasn't there. And it's no fault of my own. A lot of times that's just, I'm realizing my parents did the best they could or best they knew how to do. You know what I'm saying? And so a lot of times it's not your fault. But since you got that game and you got people that's around you that's going to support you but also hold you accountable, it's up to you to not necessarily don't let them down, but make sure their investment is worth it. Their investment in you is worth it. You know what I'm saying? Hope that makes sense. But I would totally go for that course if they were finding it. Funny you say that. I stumbled on a personal finance through a community college in Houston course. It's free. Signed up yesterday. Probably gonna start tonight or tomorrow. Even still at 33, I'm trying to get that game because, like I said, I'm trying to set up my future. So we're in an information age where there's information literally available at the palm of your hands. Anything you want to know in the world, you can find something out about it. Exactly. So I feel like there's no downside to it. Just go for it.
I also want to jump in on that too and tell you that you have a young mind, and that is very important. The fact that you are so willing to take in this type of information, you know, because I'm going to tell you right now, majority of the people at your school that are your age, they ain't thinking about that. They're not thinking about that. And I'll tell you this, there's a lot of people in their 20s that aren't thinking about that. But then once they get closer to 30s, then it's going to get really real. Or if they have kids and stuff like that, you know. So your financial knowledge and thirst and hunger is very beautiful and it's amazing, and just keep going with that. But a lot of times, just understand that it's not always going to be in school. So we've all said this at a different time, one time or another. You just got to go out and seek that knowledge, because this again, this is something that I wish I learned in school, but I didn't. And if it was available, I wasn't mentally open to it yet. Because at the time of being 16, what was I focused on? Girls, karate, dancing. That's it. In that order, right? So finances, far from my mind. But now, that's all I think about, because I got mouths to feed and I have a home to provide for. And eventually you guys are going to have the same, well, not you guys, but you will have the same. We all have that. Yeah. And college isn't for everybody, but I will tell you this, if you find something that you're truly passionate about, try and get as much knowledge about it as you can. I'm in my 30s and I just barely went back to school again. You know what I'm saying? And I finally figured out what I wanted to do. I could have been like everybody else, a lot of people that I know, and spent money going to school for a degree that I'll never use, and now trying to figure out something else to do. I know what I want to do, so I'm focused.
And there was something Omega said, that college thing is for real, man. If you don't know what you want to do, I tell my young cousins and everything, go to trade school. Learn a trade. You can become an entrepreneur that way. But if there's something you wanted to do, to go to college, you could do that. But there was one thing that Omega said that like refreshed my memory on this one subject. Omega said if the government made everyone financially literate, we wouldn't need them. So as like a 20-some-year-old, I used to always figure out, well, why do basically persons of color are stigmatized as people with bad credit and Latinos are stigmatized with no credit? So, and I'm just like, if we knew better, we would do better. But that's also by design. I'm not sure if they taught this in your history classes. They never did at my school, about the Freedmen Bank, in which this was where there was a bank in the 1870s that was open for freed slaves. At its peak, it had about $57 million in it at its peak. 5 weeks after it opens, the president, Abraham Lincoln, is assassinated. The incumbent president dissolves the bank. So the intention of the bank was to teach freed slaves how to manage their money, and they were putting their money in that bank. The dissolve of that bank basically set Black people, or I'd say Black people at that time, 20 years back, because they didn't know how to save their money, nor could they trust banking institutions with their money. So there's a reason why a lot of, I will say, Black people do not know how to manage their money. And it was done strategically. If you're ever on YouTube, check out this guy, John Hope Bryant. And if you're into books, man, there's a book called How the Poor Can Save Capitalism. Definitely check it out, man. It explains a lot.
That is definitely noted. That was really interesting. Appreciate that, Cranberry. Yeah, I'm about to probably check out that book and take a listen.
I wrote that shit down immediately.
Cran, while you still on the mic, can you tell me that quote again? Something about tuition?
Oh, another person's wisdom, basically your wisdom, the wisdom is receiving the knowledge that someone else paid tuition for.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
No. I didn't go to college, so I'm not the person to talk to about that. I'm not again. I would say give it a try though if you're curious about it. That's one thing that I wish I did do. I wish I at least gave it a try, even though I knew what I wanted to do and I knew I couldn't find it in college. I still wish I would have gave it a try because you never know. You never know what you would have found. There could have been something in there that caught your interest. So yeah, that's all.
No, absolutely no, and I appreciate all of y'all. Y'all most definitely all of you gave me something to take away from this and think about. No, and the only reason I say I don't ever think about college or ever have is because I never necessarily thought I could afford that shit. Like the way I grew up, we couldn't afford shit. Like we couldn't. And excuse on my like bad language and everything like that, but I'm just trying to express how that was. Like we like growing up, I never thought about going to college because I never thought I could. I still don't think I can, but it isn't something that I've completely taken away. And hearing all of this, yeah, most definitely, I'll make sure at least keep that in the back of my mind, and just keep an open mind about all this.
May I ask you a question? Do you want to go to college? I didn't ask you if you can afford it. I asked you, did you want to go?
No.
Okay. That's that right there. That says enough. Because, I mean, you can want to go and just not be able to afford to go. That's another story. Because that way, like tying back, doing a callback to what we talked about earlier, this is the community to help you. Exactly. We pool our resources together to help you. No man left behind. That's the important thing. Now, Eddie said he didn't go to college. That doesn't mean he can't. That just means he just chose not to. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, look at Eddie's talent. Look at Eddie's, what he's already created for himself and his family so far. That goes to show you that you don't always have to go the college route to create opportunity for yourself. And Eddie is showing that. He's proof of this. And I commend this brother. I do. I admire him for his abilities. And in the same way, that's the same way that I've been. You know, my wife, and this is one thing that we did for my family. My wife, shouts out to Drake. My wife went to college. She was the first one out of her family. She's the first one to go to college. She put herself through school. She had a daughter, she got married, the whole nine, but she did all of that. She did everything right, all on her own. One of her siblings went to school for a little bit, but didn't finish. But she's the one that did. She has a career in healthcare. Her husband did the opposite. Me, I did the opposite. I didn't go to school. I'm not saying I'm any less successful because I've met all of you gentlemen. I'm very highly respected in all my fields of what I do. But it also helped me to narrow down what I want to do. So now, I think I do want to be a teacher solidly. So what do? I'm going to school to go get that paper. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that way of thinking about things. You know, you have the way of the college route, then you have your own way. No one way is better than the other. It's just all about the way that you choose. And if you do want to do a trade, I say do that because everybody's learning about that right now. Trade school is important because there's a lot of unemployed tech people. A lot of unemployed degrees.
No, yeah, and the reason I say that is because I was raised to believe that you could do anything that you want as long as you put your mind to it. And it sounds corny as fuck. It sounds corny, and it sounds cliche, but at the same time, it's very true. It's extremely true. You just have to have the will to do it. So that just reassures me that I have the correct mindset and that I'm on the right path as far as that. But Uncle, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, well, no, keep walking your path, young man. Like, it's important. This actually, it's interesting because it brings me to a deeper topic that I kind of wanted to. It's going to be the string for tonight. Apart from education and finance, was it just shows when people don't know how to do something, what is the next thing they're going to do? Are they going to respond or are they going to react? Like responding to the situation, the lack of knowledge, would be going out and gaining that knowledge for yourself. If you don't have it, rather than waiting for it to be given to you, like as we're supposed to expect to get from our parents, our families, or versus reacting, which is just continuing to like find any quick get rich quick schemes or shortcuts to that place. But along those lines, there was something that I believe Omega, you shared in our group chat earlier. It was the post said, "Black people not playing. It is by any means necessary. After the Ahmaud Arbery murder, Dr. Keisha G, 33, Black woman outside of their house, posing with all the firearms she owns to protect her son, standing in the window, and family. A powerful photo sends a strong message. No more from these white supremacists and racists. Note, husband taking the photo." And the question you posed with that is, did you find this powerful? And I'm curious as to if you did or didn't, why or why not. Me personally, it is powerful. It's showing that that we're drawing that hard boundary. Kind of what I said before. If I can't tell you no, how are you supposed to trust my yes? Like we're drawing that no, that hard line no in the sand of being like, no, we're not taking this shit anymore. You want to kill our people, you want to fear, then like fear coming to try and harm us. That's what you should feel in the decision of trying to hunt someone down. It's like, you should be afraid to go do that. Like, don't go do that. That's stupid. But I do feel it's powerful because it's making a statement. It's showing that, and it's Mama Bear. She's not about to take nothing from nobody. But yeah, I'm curious to hear what you guys thought and feel.
So I think it's safe for us to do a hard stop on this.
Absolutely. Okay, well, thank you all for listening and to another great podcast. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining us on the Have a Drink podcast, where we invite everyone to come sit, think, and have a drink. Until next time, peace. Love you all.